Alright, I had to just make sure the mic was still on here, and it's good so far. So there's really two counts on the 5 minute chart here, and here's the bearish count, but it's in a very nice uptrend right now, so I wouldn't necessarily short it, because it also has this time. So, and if we break this top, there's going to be a lot of people that take their losses, and then you have to kind of look at the volume. So yeah, you see how like there's not much volume here up here. So I'd be watching just this uptrend and kind of the same thing. Like it's better to look at the shorter time frames, because you'll start seeing these patterns on the higher time frames. But at the same time, I made the mistake myself that to not get caught up too much in the small details, and that's why I'm trying to cut off like all the non necessities when it comes to trading. Like I like Fibonacci's as supports and stuff because they work so much, so well. But like for example, this one here, it hits the 618, and that's a really good strategy for retracements, because the bots are pretty much set on that, right? And there's also timing bots like this one here, the 0.5. They're all matrix systems, and that's what I kind of find all the time. But here's the next most important thing: is having a watch list that you can follow and track. And so I trade futures on the Binance, and I have like 64 here. You know, there's about 100 perpetuals. So I'm really trying to just narrow it down to a few, like 20 or 5, like because Gan says it's much better to just trade in one asset or 5 or 20, but like only 5 positions, but have like 20 potentials. So this guy, he's like, he really knows his stuff, you know. So I'm studying him and his work, and Wyckoff and those guys, because it's really all the same stuff. The same stuff that these guys do. They buy it low, they accumulate it low, and then they distribute it high. But the next question you want to ask, because in 21st centuries, the banks, they want to hold it as an asset, but they still trade it. But they want to hold it low or buy it low. So this is the full picture that we have here on the daily. And on the weekly, you can use the same strategy because it's all basically the same. And even on the 5 minute charts, like higher low, higher low, higher low, way higher low. And then what Gann teaches is to look at the highs and lows of the candles. So it's like this is a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, all of the candles, right? And then you have a consolidation, like a bull flag that you pointed out, and then it breaks out of the pattern and continues this uptrend. So that's how the markets work. They uptrend and then pause, consolidate, get accumulated or distributed, see if there's more demand than supply, and that's what they do as well. They follow that law. It's a law of supply and demand, the law of cause and effect. So the cause is volume. Volume is the cause. The effect is the price action. The cause is the banks needing it. You know, like Ethereum or something like that. The banks needing Ethereum, so that's the cause, right? And then the effect is them accumulating it or buying it. So when it comes to Ethereum counts and stuff, like I do Elliott waves too, but like I said, I think that's kind of like not that smart because it's obvious that we just broke the trend here, right? The higher lows and the higher highs. But if we go to a monthly chart, it's just a huge spinning top candle here on Ethereum. This one here was a warning candle, right? There are sellers right here on lower volume. This is huge buy candle, So on lower volume means it's not that relevant, but the next month we open and we open higher. You know what I mean? So it's still a higher high. But this one here, I think it's something to consider. Um, the reason I like Elliott waves is because it helps with pulling fibs, and a lot of times if you take the right pulls, it's gonna get it to the T. You know, like look at this one. I just the first time I actually look at it because the bots are set on it, right? Bots are set on it. Now if I go to Matic and I look at the same type of thing here, um, the bots are set to buy and sell on these levels. Log scale, I use log scale because there's no point in you not using log scale on a higher time frame. There's one pool here that I'm looking for, not this one. I have to go to the daily chart because if I know the wave count here, and we can follow it, I'm going to use this one here. We count like the waves here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 3, 4, and this is 5. The confirmation of it would be this pull. So this one here, I was looking at it for a couple, days or a couple weeks ago, and I had I think I sent you the picture on Telegram, but it was so blurry. On Discord, it's much better, and I think I had something like this. And this mic's really interrupting every 3 seconds, so yeah. So one of Gan's rules, I just want to end it off by saying a few kind of important stuff here. So it's a really good rule, right? So he looks for previous retracements of the same time and percentages. So this one here was like 4 bars, the first wave, and then this one here was the 5 bars. So it's similar, right? Similar in price and time. Sometimes it'll be exactly the same. So, and then it'll start to uptrend again. So consolidations, corrections are usually the same time, but Elliott waves, they have a different rule, and it's the rule of alternation, which actually happened here. So if it's a deep retracement, here was a 618786, then the wave 4 would be a high correction, which happened here at 236. And I'll show you on the daily. It's really cool, this fib that you might want to follow. If this is a correction going downwards to correct this whole range, we would take that same rule and apply it to the higher time frame. So this one here pulling down to the 61.8. So if that's the same rule, 61.8, and then it comes up for the third wave, the wave 4 would be the 382. So if the wave 2 gets to the 618, then the wave 4 would be to the 382, which is 34 cents, which is also in here. And the timing of it would be about 84 days, if I checked last time correctly. 84 days, so 12 bars. This one here got 63%, but I don't really want to look at that. 84%. And so if I delete this, I put it on the daily chart. We'll go there right after. Because this one here, it didn't hit it quite. So it was 2.78, and I mean, it hit like 2.70, right on. You can see at the high lows right here, 2.70. And so that's the target for the wave 5. It's either the 382 or the 0618. And if it's extended, which actually happens a lot in Matic, we would be looking at like $12, the next target here. So I mean, if it breaks that $3 mark, then yeah, then it's probably much higher because we're still in a uptrend. And here's really interesting. If I open up I'm gonna use the total here because like I don't want to clutter the charts or anything, but this is kind of like also where the bots buy. And if there's still much demand on these moving averages, then of course the price is going to start uptrending. So this one here on the weekly chart is at 110, but on this one there's specific days that you have to use. So here it's actually at 120, and we could also use the 2-day chart. So it's called a cycle, or I forgot what they use the word there. So wick, and it's hard to find these in real time. Like if I could build bots, I would buy if it crosses over. But as a human, it's really hard to like watch all these things at the same time. Like even set alerts. So yeah, this is the 2-day chart, and the same. Remember the rule, the 61.8. So if this is a wave 4, we would expect it in 84 days to come down here. So 84 days to come down here to 382, and you can see that so far this retracement has been getting respected, and it hit the 236 at 74 cents. And I wasn't aware of that, but now I see it. That would have been a perfect buy right there, 74, right on that fib, because it hit it too. So a lot of people were probably expecting the 382, or some people were. So my next question is: are we going to break upwards, or are we going to form an ABC? So the B's, they can even do an expanded B, but the 61.8 is the one that is the invalidation. So right here, the 1618 at $5. So there's that on the daily. But yeah, so on for a fourth wave, the same rules of the rule of alternation. So if it's not, we have to zoom in here, I think, because it'll do whatever the opposite is on this one. So if this is a wave 4 right now, it can't be an expanded flat because we just had that one right here. We just had that one right here. See how it didn't hit the 1618? That's the invalidation, but it hits the 236, which is the target for the expansion, expanded flat, and then it'll go and hit either usually a 1618. So this one right here was the target, and really what happened is that if we measure this one, it hit the 61.8, so right on the dot. So then the bots just came in right there. And you also take a look at the volume. There wasn't that much selling, and then the buying came in, which is a good telltale sign. And then it just continues to do higher lows at that point right here. And I mean, 61.8, 786 wasn't surpassed, so that that's kind of previous move retracement probably sets for the whole trend. So I mean that 61.8 is probably the buy, and the stop loss is 764. Well, you see how it just follows these moving averages after, because that's how much demand was on it, and that's what I call an uptrend. But I don't really have rules for this EMA strategy. I also have this timing thing, but I still haven't really figured out how to use it mostly. For example, like when the 34 gets right here, which is going to be in 38 days, and we're still above this one, it's going to be a strong trend. Like, for example, when the 8 was down here, this was a strong trend on the white moving average, and they didn't even close below it. So it's a good strategy for momentum trading. But right now, if it's the Elliott waves and it's the rule of alternation, and this is the fourth wave, we would expect it zigzag because it's the opposite of what this one is here. So this is called an expanded flat in Elliott waves, and if wave 2 is an expanded flat, then wave 4 should be should be either a triangle or a zigzag pattern. So let's go to the 8-hour chart, which is also part of this cycle, but we're not going to get into it. So zigzag is, let's go to 2 hours so we can see it more clearly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not gonna lie, it's kind of a tough count because of this stuff right here that happened. So if we go to a lower time frame, does anybody have a count on it? 34 is also a good chart to use for that. So if this is 5, 3, this is third wave, 4, 5. So anyways, the rule for a zigzag, that's what I mean when it comes to counting waves, right? The thing that's more important, because bots don't really, they probably count waves, but I don't know how they do it yet. They don't count it like a human would, which is kind of on guess. They count it like, okay, if it hits the moving average, that counts as a wave. Like for example, if we open up this one right here, and I'm not sure if this is true, because it's proprietary information, right? That's how bots work. They don't tell anybody. They're not supposed to. And if it hits the moving average, like, yeah, if it hits the moving average, like this one here, they would count that as 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4, 5, whatever. I mean, that's just an idea, but anyhow, just like look at all the wicks. There's definitely a lot of proprietary firms that use this one. It's really obvious once you get to know like the wicks right here, how it closes above it. They just buy it and continue the uptrend. So, but it's hard as a human to follow it. You have to be super tuned to just trading out one strategy. So the rule of Elliott waves is on a zigzag, it can retrace all the way up to 85.4%, and then it would come down. There's a specific strategy for timing as well. That I have to find, but let's just talk about price. So here's the 85. This would basically be the target. It could either be 50% all the way to 85. So anything here is going to be the B wave retracement for a zigzag. Okay. So those are the rules of it, and then the target is going to be for C wave 618 or 1, 2, 3, whenever the top gets hit. So let's just say it's that 84 or 85. Should say it's like right here, using that volume indicator a little bit on the top. It's either going to go all the way down to 26 cents, or 43, or here, but it's too early to tell, right? Because we haven't formed that thing here. So 101, and the 1618, which is the big one, which is also would be about like 84 days, right? Oh yeah, that's like we can do that. Where's 84 days? So yeah, it's about like, okay, let's keep it simple now and just follow the trend. Like this indicator here is a trend following indicator. So this follow the market so nicely, that we could use this to validate if we're going to be on the. We can use it on a 2-day chart. Just depends what cycle we want to look at. Right? They all work, but the longer time frame is better. So as long as we stay above this one here, right, it's still kind of good. Here's the 8 hours. So it was a good trend. We want to keep above these moving averages. Here's the 2 hours. Here's the 8 minutes. We're still above all of them. So like, what time frame should we be using? Right. We could form something very similar like this one here. So big wave, down, down, and then up like this one here, right there. So I would probably use it in time though. So 20 hours. 20, how much? Uh, 20 hours. 56 bar. 156. 61%. 61%. Something like that. And that, let's see if that actually follows up with the B wave. It would be a little bit higher. So does it become invalid? Doesn't say anything about invalid, but doesn't say it's higher. I know it can't pass the top of it though. So we'll put an alert and I'll let you know how it closes. What is it, tomorrow? So this is pretty much the trend, honestly, because it just follows it as bots. And look how sharp Matic is. It's like the angle of it, it's very sharp upwards. So 55 degrees right here. This one here is like 82 degrees. So that's probably how they know it's invalid or not, if it starts to lose steam like that one. So 45 versus 60. Yeah, I don't know why it changes if I just scroll down. Changes. So yeah. And then the 2 minutes, if you want to like really get into it, it's like, so the bots, they buy it, and I guess right here they sold it. You can see the volume, and they continued up, and so I wouldn't want to cross over here, and then 8 minutes. So what time frame do you think is the best? Oh, the laptop's gonna die. I wonder how the strategies they work. Because I know for sure they're set on these time frames because they don't want to break. They don't want to close below candles. And there's like 2 more cycles to like the bull cycle. When you open this one up, it's like I'll just finish it off with this one. You go on the 21 hour. You can tell that the bots they bought this whole thing up because you see the wicks, they just close above the moving average every single time. And even on the 89, and this is not even the perpetuals. The perpetuals is better because that's really the trend. They don't want to break. So let me know if you have any ideas for like strategy, and I'll still follow Gannon's work like this one here. Yeah. 5 day, like if I just show you the 5 day chart on Bitcoin, it hits it with to the dollar because that's what they buy it on. So I honestly, we can expect Bitcoin to hit it again. I've seen that happen so many times. Double bottoms and then it'll continue. That's something good to end off the video. You see where the 89 here, we're at the bottom of the 89, which means that this moving average is going to start trending upwards. All of this upward trend. So that's how I use the moving averages. That's how I use the moving averages. And so if this is super bullish, then we should continue to uptrend on the 89 like this. I hope that makes sense because it's the 89 moving average. And that 89, this thing moves with the trend. And it should do this. This should do this. Because it's very possible that this be an ABC. I hope the computer doesn't die here. Very possible this is ABC, and that was a nice little correction. This is where you want to buy it. This is the wave 4, and that it would go up like this to form another ABC for ABC like that. The target is just like what we did before. Maybe I'll just plug in my laptop real quick. On Matic, the target's going to be a 382 or the 61.8, which is this box right here. This is Bitcoin. For 170K versus 90K.